Good afternoon. Good morning. Good evening. Oh, that's me. I have to lean back. I can see. Here, you can walk through, Patrina. No worries. Hi. I'm just going to read some names here. Kyle Miller.
Hey.
Du Flunky. Becca Johnson. Melissa Sheffer. That is my mother. She gave birth to me.
Hi, Melissa.
Alexander. You can speak to her in Hebrew if you want to also. Sure. Alexander Reddix. Patricia. Aaron Paul Spikerman. I don't know if I've never known how to say your name, but I'm trying.
You got the box on him.
You got the box on him. Let me do that. Now it should be gone.
Nope, still there. Go.
One more.
Yep.
One more. Good.
No, one more. One more. There we go.
Okay,
Thank
great.
You.
Nice. Jordy, Suhan, Nick Tolson, Ilmer, Pedro, James Tamim, John Sandow, Nika. I'm just reading more names here. Esteban, Michael Flores, I Picture Everything, Randy, Kenny, Alexander. My mom says shalom, Ramon, Paul, Kyle. There's like a weird echo. Is there a weird echo?
I mean, yeah, the room's really echoey.
Yeah.
We went from a box to a giant open room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Should I pull the mic closer?
As you can see, we
I'll
are.
turn everyone down a little.
Yanir, I'm just going to move your pile of clothes.
Oh.
This, because it's like behind my head.
Incredible. How about now?
Okay.
I think it's fine.
Okay. It multiplies 1,000 times? Is it? Hold on. Let me get a test here. It's just a big open room. That's it. Let me hear. It's just a big open room. That's it. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Is it me? No.
Testing 1, 2, 3. No, I don't think so.
I don't hear it.
I don't think so. And I have an AirPod in, but it sounds great. Where's everyone watching from? Y'all at work? Y'all at school?
Where in the world?
Where in the world? Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Sound is fine. Thank you, Destiny. Taking over the break room. This is not really a room.
It's kind of like the kitchen.
Move this way closer to your face, my brother.
It's the kitchen.
Yeah, it's the kitchen. Today I'm in OKC. Work. Day off Toronto. London, baby. Good evening. Hello from Germany. San Jose, California. Germany at home. It's 9 p.m. Well, thank you for spending your Friday with us. I Picture Everything. East Coast, U.S. San Diego. Germany. It's funny how there's just like so many people here from Germany. Nebraska, India, remote working in Fresno, California. Europe, Belgium at home. Nice. South Africa. Wow. It's truly a global audience here. Spain, Berlin calling. Hello from Germany. Seriously.
Guten Tag.
Czech Republic. Do you speak German?
No, just I taught my dog German actually. Yeah, it was like sitzen for sit, Aufenthalt for stay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
For the German audience.
Luther, spread the good word. It's 1:30 a.m. here. Wow. India, sub homies, North Carolina represent. Nice. From the sofa in Germany. Now, my next question for you before we get into this, not you, Yanir, but for the audience
okay.
here. I like, what device are you watching on? Are you broadcasting to a television? You watching on your phone? You watching on a tablet? On a laptop? On a desktop? On a gaming device? Are you watching on an Xbox? Remember Steve? Scuba Steve? That was really good German. Ooh, nice. Yanir. I guess. Well, Yanir, you speak
English, of course, Hebrew, Spanish, Portuguese, trying to learn a little bit of French, picked up a little bit of Italian, but really it's those four.
What's the word for that? Isn't like polyglot? Isn't there a word for someone that speaks?
Polyglot sounds right.
Polyglot, isn't it? What's the word?
Let's roll with it. I don't really know.
Okay.
I'm multilingual.
And not like bilingual or trilingual. You're quadrilingual.
I mean, the two strongest are English, Hebrew, and then goes Spanish, Portuguese. Portuguese is really limited to what I speak with my mom. So I know how to say, "Oh, my head hurts,"
and obrigado.
I'll do the dishes later.
And beijo, ciao.
Exactly.
Yeah, polyglot. Okay, that's what I thought. Live from Cambridge, MA. Yanir, we were in the ILR major at Cornell together. I hope you remember me. Seth Young, no way. Wow, yeah. Epic.
I'm assuming that's Andrew. I love Andrew. He's an OG. Great. He's going to be a great lawyer soon.
We need a Humane emo. We do. while I have all of your attention here, we have the YouTube Humane channel now. So if you go to youtube.com/@humane, you can go subscribe. There's no content yet, but we have the handle now, and I would appreciate to the 54 people that are in here right now, definitely go subscribe. Watching from my Wi-Fi connected banana. Dude, I'm broadcasting from my Apple right now, actually. That's not a pun intended, actually. Pixel 6 Pro at the DMV with captions on. How are those auto captions? I'm curious.
What are you
How's
at
it
the
going?
DMV for? I hope it's not going to take too long.
Yeah, seriously.
Get the real ID.
Thank you, David Perry. Subscriber right now. All right, great. Okay. Yanir Nulman.
Sam Sheffer.
How's it going, brother? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. It's been a great week. Great week of building. Great week of hanging out with friends. You're back. So my week is just infinitely better. Sam's one of my favorite people at Humane.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
And Colin, my two favorites.
Yanir and I have an interesting sort of, we'll get there, but
Yeah.
you know the way it goes with these live streams, Yanir. I rewind the clock all the way. And
All the way.
You are one of the one of the younger members of the team here. So I think we can first start with asking you the question that I ask everyone, and it is, what did you eat for breakfast this morning?
I actually didn't have breakfast.
Yep, that's an answer that I'm getting a lot lately.
Although I did anticipate that probably this would go through lunch, so I did have blueberry fig bar.
Okay. So you've eaten today.
And I did go for a Rice Krispie treat as well.
Wow.
It was shiny. It was calling my name. I had to go for it.
You open the snack drawer.
It was there.
And this shiny object, and you peel it open, you indulge.
Exactly.
Yanir,
what'd you have for breakfast? Has anyone asked you?
No breakfast this morning. No. I make myself the classic mocha here. It's Ghirardelli with, I don't know, hard G, soft G, the chocolate sauce, pull a shot, 2 shot of espresso this morning.
Nice.
And then steamed almond milk.
Nice.
It's great. The consistency that machine's loud and obnoxious, but the consistency that I can get from that thing now is great. I've got it dialed. Yanir, so what I usually like to have is you sort of tell me where you're from, where you grew up, and then like I know how you sort of got into tech, and also like you're one of the earliest employees here, right? What number are you?
I'm employee number 4.
Number 4.
Yeah.
And
It's been a while.
that was 2019.
Yeah, so I started as an intern in 2019. We kept my employee number from then.
Okay.
And then I started full-time January 2020, right before the pandemic.
Wow.
So we had some good couple months, few weeks of
in-person office.
In-person
and
office.
Yeah, not even this one. There was another one.
Yeah, it was like a little shoebox.
Wow.
Compared to this.
Wow.
But they were building that office just when I found out about Humane. And I remember I was, just following along as I was like sending emails to Bethany and Imran. I was like, they're building out the office. I was like, this is the most exciting thing. Like, and in retrospect, like now we have this huge, massive space, and that was just the beginning of a proper office. And there was an office before that too, that they were renting out. But
okay, so let's go back before we spoil
before we spoil
the good stuff. Where are you from?
Well, one question I have: am I the first non-Apple person on the stream here?
Ooh, yeah, I think so. Well,
check
at
that
least
out.
since I've been here.
Check that out.
Right, I
It might
think
be.
so.
Oh, this is gonna be interesting.
We had Brian, Patrick. I had George on.
Okay.
I had George on when we were sitting at the lunch table
true,
over
true,
there.
True. Okay.
But yeah, for the most part, it's been,
Wow.
if you randomly just like select a person here, there's like a pretty good chance that they used to work at Apple.
Good chance. Well, this is gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
I'm super hyped. Let's rewind.
Oh, wait, I count.
Okay.
I'm not an Apple employee.
That's true.
And I was on.
That's
and
true.
I interviewed you.
Well, you interviewed me, and I guess I'm not a former Apple employee also. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
So I'm
yes.
not unique
Okay,
here.
yeah,
I'm not
we
unique
cleared
here.
this
All
up.
right.
Thank you,
Scratch
David.
that.
Yes,
Scratch that.
yes.
It's still gonna be fun. It's still gonna be
Absolutely.
Unique. So where am I from? I'm from Palo Alto. I just
Born and raised.
Born and raised.
Where
in
is Palo Alto?
Palo Alto is just about 40 minutes south of San Francisco.
Now, is that
when there's no traffic?
Is that considered the Bay Area?
Yeah.
Palo Alto is considered the Bay Area.
Bay Area, Silicon Valley, and I love it there. Like I have such close friends, made such close friends there. I also find it to be like such an inspiring place. Like, you know, I grew up, and I would see these cars, these Priuses drive by on Foothill Expressway, for anyone that knows that road, with these spinning things on top. And I was probably in middle school or elementary school, and I'd ask my dad, like, what the hell is that? And he'd be like, oh, they're just probably taking pictures for maps or something like that. But, you know, a few years later, Google announces their self-driving project, and we're like, that's the car. Like, that's the car that was driving around our neighborhood and, you know, collecting data to drive itself. And
that was Waymo, right?
What became Waymo. And that was like a really, really inspiring thing to just see all these like companies and people around.
What companies are, like, do you remember from your childhood, like in Palo Alto or the surrounding areas?
Yeah, I mean, I think Google was a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Google.
Their office is in...
It's in Mountain View.
Mountain View.
Just a short hop around.
Okay.
And in high school, we'd love to like late at night go and grab the bikes and like bike around the campus there, because it was just this huge open space to just bike around. You're not really supposed to do that, so I hope, you know, it's been a long time since I've done that. But
that's funny.
Yeah,
that's too funny.
and it was just so fun.
So you felt like the tech companies, like growing up in Palo Alto, like you were in Silicon Valley.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. I mean, I'd be sitting in a coffee shop and people would come in with Google Glass. I'm like, this is awesome. Like, people are wearing what their pitch is for the future. They are coming into these coffee shops and trying to, you know, live their day, live their life like that. There was this company, I remember, I'd go to Phil's Coffee a lot. It's my favorite spot. There was this company called Tap, I think, and they were building this kind of like knuckle glove that would essentially turn any surface into like a capacitive touch surface. So you can like type out sentences and essentially type on any surface without the need for a real keyboard. And they would just have people sit in fills and just type away. And I'm like, what's going on? They're like, here, try it out. I tried it. It was cool. And I was like, that kind of stuff of like, you're just sitting, going about your day, and like people are just building around you. It's awesome. It's so inspiring. So big love for Palo Alto, big love for the Silicon Valley. Yeah.
Okay, so you are a middle schooler, high schooler. You went to high school in Palo Alto.
High school in Palo Alto, yeah.
And your interest in tech, you know, paint a picture for me here. Like, yeah, besides Phil's Coffee, like, did you have, you know, what was your first smartphone? Like, when did you get an iPhone? Which iPhone was it? You know, like, how into tech were you as a kid?
I think I was always into tech. And, like, I'm trying to pinpoint some of the first memories I have of like being into technology. I would always like go up to my like parents' computer, and they had it password protected, and I would, you know, try to break in, and like I always thought I was like this insane hacker of like guessing their password, but like really they just, and I don't think they know this, so I'm revealing all my like secrets here. They just had the hint like for the password, because back then a lot of people just had hints for what their password was. Like, this is you pretty much have your password written out there, and they're like, oh my god, this guy, like, how does he know what our password is?
This guy, their son.
yeah, exactly.
Was it like the family computer?
Yeah, it was their computer. Like, there wasn't a family computer yet, but that like was super inspiring to me.
And how old were you as a kid? Like, do you remember what age this was? What year this was?
That was probably when I was like 7, 6, something like that.
So you've been exposed, surrounded by all sorts of technology from as long as you can remember.
Yeah. So and that was actually, you know, I started to play games on their computer, whether it was like solitaire, but like the ones that were really cool were like the
Windows
Tron.
machine.
Yeah, it was a Windows machine.
You ever played the pinball?
I'm sure I have.
Okay.
I don't remember that.
You know
one,
that pinball that I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
The like the nostalgia pinball.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, continue.
But yeah, I like always wanted to, like, I would play these games and I was like, I want to make one. Like, I just want to make something for the computer. And then my dad's, well, like, you can learn how to program. And then I looked up as a real young kid, I looked up a piece of code. I was like, I'm never gonna know how to do this.
What was the medium that you looked up? Like, was it a book? Were you looking at like a how to code like kind of book, or was
I
it,
have
you
no
don't remember?
clue. I have no clue. And I like,
Well, the internet was definitely like, it was like you could very much Google something when
Oh,
you're
yeah.
6th, 7th grade. Like it's, you know,
yeah,
it's
for
there. The
sure,
internet's
for
there.
sure, for
And
sure.
you were using the internet probably as a small child,
always,
right?
Yeah. So yeah, it was all these games. I was like, I just want to, you know, like oftentimes when there were like, I'd always be like inspired by like features that I feel like these applications should have and don't have, and I'm like, I just want them to be in. And that was like a big inspiration for me. Like I always kept a notebook of like different ideas. Like I'd just be going out in the world and thinking through it. And then I'd actually, you know, as I was growing into high school and things like that, I'd actually start to pick up some of the projects as I would, you know, learn different components of physics. I started working on this mechanism for hybrid and electric cars that generates electricity through the motion of the suspension, so that motion's just always bouncing when you're driving, right? We should be
Capturing that
capturing
energy.
that, turn it into electricity. So that kind of got me into really building things. To more, you know, pointedly answering your question, the first piece of technology that I remember that I was like, holy shit, I need this, and it really inspired me, was the iPhone 4. I think, you know, the idea of the iPhone was still just kind of,
It was new.
it was new, you know, with the first iPhone, 3G, 3GS, we got there, and then that kind of like felt like the norm. And then when they dropped the iPhone 4, and I was like, oh my God, this thing has a front-facing camera.
Yup.
Holy shit.
Yup.
Like, we'll be able to
Make call, like videos.
communicate with each other. Like, that just opens up a whole new way of connecting with people.
Yup.
And that was really inspiring for me.
So was that your first iPhone?
That was my first iPhone. Yeah.
iPhone 4.
iPhone 4. And I don't know how my parents pulled this off, but I think it came out on the 24th.
It was the summer release. It was
Summer-
still
summer
doing
release.
summer releases.
I remember because my birthday's the 28th and of June.
Oh, wow. I'm
of
June
June.
19th. Wow,
Twins.
epic.
We're twins.
Wow.
We should throw a joint birthday
Wow.
this year.
I did not know that. How did I not
Yeah.
know that? Wow, epic.
The more,
Yeah, you remember it was because it was always WWDC
Yeah.
followed by
Yeah.
a release.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So somehow they were able, like, this phone was sold out, but somehow, and I feel like I was just like the luckiest 7th grader I must have been. Like they just got it, and I like was jumping off the walls. I was like, this is amazing.
And it was for you. It wasn't
was-
like one of your parents' phones. It
Yeah,
was,
yeah.
Yanir, this is yours.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
were you on prior?
Oh, that was my first phone. Yeah.
Your first phone was an iPhone 4.
Yeah.
You didn't have LG Chocolate, BlackBerry.
Nope.
Man, wow, full send right into a smartphone.
Yep.
Amazing.
Exactly.
Wow.
And it was.
Wow, and as a 7th grade kid who's interested in tech, that is like the best thing
It's
ever.
huge. It was huge. And of course, immediately I was like, I want to build all these apps for it. And I still didn't know how. I didn't know how to code. Like, I didn't learn how to code until much later on. But I actually went from that, and when I was like, oh, I do want to try to build things, I had this like feeling that it was easier to do that on Android. So I had a solid Android sprint.
While you had an iPhone.
No, I actually
You
moved
switched
from the iPhone to Android. This is a very little known fact.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was a big Android head.
What phones?
So it started with the Nexus 5.
Nice.
Yeah, that
wow.
panda
Yeah,
white color with the black eye. Like, loved that. I thought it was so clean. The feeling was great.
This was Google's hardware before they like rebranded and changed to the Pixel.
Yeah.
It was the Nexus line
yeah.
of phones.
And then that's like when the smartwatch era started to pop up. And then, you know, there was like the LG Square Watch was one of the first Android Wear watches, and the Moto X was the other one that. Well, no, sorry, no, not the Moto X, the Moto 360.
Yes. The
I ended up getting the Moto
display.
X.
Okay, the
so I was
phone.
getting
Yeah.
there, but
Yep.
the Moto 360 I thought was insane.
Yeah.
A circular display. Are you
Yup.
kidding me? Like, that's awesome. So I like went down the path of like getting the watch, and when it finally came out. So yeah, I went from a Moto X, and then I had like an LG G3 at one point.
Wow.
Oh, sorry, I had the Nexus, LG G3, Moto X.
Wow. Man, these are deep cuts.
Yeah, what else? And then at one point, actually, I think I ended with the Moto X. And the reason I remember that is because the story Google support told me was, you always got to start with that. The story Google support told me was that there was an update that was pushed to my phone, and it bricked my phone. And that was just when Google Photos started to kind of come up, and I didn't have everything backed up. And I lost some incredible photos, and I swore that day I would never go back to Android. So I grabbed an iPhone from a friend's parent. I was like, oh, I want to build apps. I never ended up building apps for the Android. I tried to start, worked with some friends on that.
Were there any programming classes that you took in high school?
They just started to offer Python my junior year of high school, and then AP Computer Science my senior year of high school, and I hated coding actually.
So you took those courses?
Yeah.
So it was the first time your high school ever offered those classes.
Yeah.
You were the guinea pig.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very literally, kind of, the guinea pigs.
Yep.
But it was, they were good fun. But I really was like, dang, I didn't really love the. Coding's one of those things that when you don't really know how to do it, it's very frustrating. So I found it so frustrating.
Yeah.
I was like, I just want my ideas out there. Why is this so hard? And then, with a lot of patience and practice, I ramped up to it. And I put myself in situations where I had to code. In college, I took a lot of classes.
What environments were you working in high school, this AP class that you took? Was it Python?
Yeah, Python was the first class, and then AP was Java.
Okay.
But in the meantime, I was learning Swift. Swift was kind of what I was learning because everything was on iPhone. It was just Swift had just come out. I was like, this is pretty simple language. It was great. And then I just got started into building some of my first apps.
So it stems from your desire to build things. And then that turns into okay, well, in order to actually build something, you need to understand the languages and the frameworks and how that stuff really works on a fundamental level. Okay, so now you've graduated high school. Do you want to mention that gadget or device that you had in high school?
Yeah, so the second piece of technology that really, really, really inspired me.
Show and tell with Yanir.
Show and tell. I'll bring it up.
Yes. I cannot believe you still have this with the box and everything. Have the camera on me so when you come back to Yanir, it's
a surprise.
It's a pretty
We're
epic.
ready.
It's a pretty epic throwback. Amazing.
This was the other piece of tech, right? People were walking in coffee shops wearing this thing, and I was like, oh my gosh.
You remember this?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I was
So you're how old when this was? You're in high school?
I must have been sophomore in high school.
It's like
And
14.
in Palo Alto.
In Palo Alto.
Yeah, so
So
you're
of course,
surrounded by this
Yeah.
stuff, right? This is not as alien as it is. It was, but it's sort of more familiar in this environment.
Yeah, exactly. So to me, the promise of hands-free computing was holy shit, this is great. You can just interact with the world, and that's going to be really exciting. Of course, Glass didn't really do any of that, but it was a start, and that was pretty cool. I'm going to take this off now because I just feel ridiculous wearing it.
It's funny because I think I probably got that around the same time when I was working at The Verge. And I just always thought a similar thing where it's wow, you can have the computer not in your pocket in a sense, It's just such a different form factor. And they painted this picture of the future, but I think it was how much was Explorer Edition? 1,500? 1,200, something like that. And then you had to get the invite thing, and it was a whole thing.
Yeah, I went through hoops to get that invite. I made a Google Plus account. This was my Android era again, right? Like I made a Google Plus account, RIP Google Plus, that needed to end earlier than it did.
It's funny, I mentioned Google Plus when we were talking last week about like how as one of our, Verge's like social media platforms where we were driving traffic was like, we gotta post on Google Plus.
Oh, cool. So actually around that same time frame is when I started following Sam Sheffer as well.
Actually?
Yeah, absolutely. That was you're popping up on The Verge and
that's crazy,
and
dude.
And then I don't know why or when, but I followed you on Snapchat for the Beef or Bust.
Wow.
The Beef or Bust was like an incredible era. I loved that, and like
why?
I want it every day because it was like, please bring it back. Just please. It was like incredible.
I'll ask Imran. We can rebrand it.
Yeah, we'll rebrand it.
You know?
It was just like part of I love Snapchat. Like, and it took advantage of this kind of like it was so quick, and it was just
one
like,
and done, ephemeral.
One and done, and it was like speedy, funny.
You catch it, and it's like you get the joy out of it, and there's probably going to be another one soon. And like if you catch it within that 24-hour window, it's like you feel like you're part of this little, sort of club of like, who is engaging with The Verge on Snapchat in a sense.
Yeah.
So you remember me going up to Chris Ziegler and being like, Chris, Beef or Bust, episode 48, this Nalgene water bottle, the new MacBooks. Like you remember that.
Yeah.
And you were in high school.
I was in high school.
Wow. See, what I always find so fascinating in here is like these social media platforms are driven by vanity metrics, right? Like I'd go up and look at how many people saw the story, a few hundred, few thousand, whatever. And then the people that would message me, that creates like a strong bond. And like you have a human connection, but like a number on a screen, it doesn't really drive a sense of like deep connection. And now you sitting here telling me that it meant something to you means way more to me than a number on a screen.
It was huge. It also like, that was you were like my first eye into New York City life too, right? I wasn't really following like anybody else that lived in New York City was posting about New York City.
So you have vivid memories of watching me on Snapchat from the Verge's office. Like, wow, that is so crazy.
And
talk about a full circle.
Full circle.
And we're sitting at a circular table.
And now we're gonna have a joint birthday party. Like that's incredible.
And we work together.
But
wow, nuts.
Yeah, so thank you for the Dumpling Man recommendation.
Wow.
Like that place in New York.
Oh, wow.
Every time I'm in New York, I have to go to Dumpling Man because that is...
I can't even tell you how many times I've eaten that because of him.
It's
so solid.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I've brought so many friends, my family there. Like we all love it. And it's...
Wow, touching my heart. Wow, crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Wow. Yeah. Do you remember me on the Vergecast also? Did you ever tune into the Vergecast? You could be honest.
I don't remember tuning into the Vergecast. I feel like I can remember like the thumbnails.
Sure, but maybe as like a high school, or maybe not as interested as watching a whole podcast.
Yeah,
versus like consuming, like where your time and focus was. It was like Snapchat.
Was it a podcast
right?
or was it a video? Or both?
It was a video podcast.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. We would record it live. I don't remember. How do I not remember this? I just remember I had the hype desk. And then it was published to the RSS feeds, and there was a video component, and then sometimes there wasn't a video component, but yeah. Okay.
When are we turning these into a podcast? I feel like you could just take the audio, plop it onto Spotify,
We definitely can.
Yeah.
I mean, it's burned into my YouTube channel.
Oh, that's
awesome. It's there.
Yeah.
And now that we have the Humane YouTube channel, it's like, we got to get the Humane.
Might as well.
Humane podcast, sure.
Yeah.
Thumbs up in the chat for the Humane podcast.
Double thumbs up.
Eventually, the plan is to migrate all of the viewers, everyone here, over to the Humane YouTube channel. But for now, because I have this solid group of people that tunes in every week, we're doing it here. But again, I said at the beginning of the live stream, we have, if you go to youtube.com/@humane, you can subscribe to us on YouTube, and then
just adjust this a little.
Adjust this a little. Sorry.
Out of your face.
Oh, out of my face. Excuse me. Sorry. Okay, Yanir. So you are the high school. I won't call you the G word, but you are the Google Glass connoisseur.
Sure.
not the derogatory, Google Glass word that was floating around. How did that make you feel?
It was so interesting. It was really exciting, but I learned a lot about the future, and I learned a lot about the face. I found myself not wanting this on my face a lot. I would wear it kind of like it would sit around my neck a lot.
Whoa!
I'd wear it like that.
Whoa!
Especially when I was talking to people, it always felt pretty effed up, when I have this thing sitting in between me and someone else.
We experienced that the other day down the
Yeah.
street. Somebody
Yeah,
put it
it's
on.
tough, right? Because
very
it's
weird.
like the eyes are the window to the soul, right? And you have this like metal band,
Yeah.
with like a prism display, and it's like, it's a little bit disjointing.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you ever get fatigue when the band would like squeeze against your cranium? So
No,
I wore it for like a solid 2 weeks. So when I first got it, I took it home for the weekend, went to a Justin Timberlake concert, did like the Verge article for it. And then like 6 months later, I was like, you know what? No one's wearing glass. I want to just bring it home. And I like put it on in the morning, like went to work the whole day. I just remember like a week in, I was like having this like raging pain and a headache because it was like squeezing my forehead. You never experienced that?
No.
Okay,
No,
interesting.
It was pretty solid for me. Like
Okay.
I thought ergonomics was cool. It was chill. But yeah, there's something really, really incredible about the human face, and anytime you perturb that, you're gonna cause a lot of rumble.
So your friends were a bit put off. You or yourself
I was
put off by it.
Yeah, my friends were too as well. I mean, it would catch a lot of attention, but not in like the. It was kind of like more of like an uncomfortable attention. Like people were like uncomfortable. There's this thing on your face that's not natural. The face is like the human QR code. It's what we use to like identify each other, understand each other. This thing kind of like sits right here, right? There's some information lost in your emotion because your eyebrows aren't as visible, your eyelids aren't as visible, your gaze isn't as visible.
Now I'm like, I gotta.
No.
I gotta see you. And what's fascinating too, Yanir, about glass, there's no recording indicator.
Exactly.
So you could just go bink, press and hold for a video. I think that's what it was, right? It was one click for a photo, press and hold for video.
Yeah.
No, nothing.
Yeah.
On
yeah,
there at
yeah,
all, which
yeah.
is crazy.
It was pretty wild, and I mean that. I will say the thing I loved the most about glass was the hands-free photography. I was able to capture such great memories of
Did
me
you
playing
do
with my
the-
dogs. I turned that off.
Okay, so how did you do it?
I'd start a record and then just kind of go out and play fetch with my dog or something like that. And those were super delightful.
And it's like, I think it's even more than just hands-free. It's like that's sort of one half of the equation for me, and the other half is you were able to be so present because you forget that you're recording.
Yeah. So it's actually I thought Snap did an amazing job with the spectacles.
You got them?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The OG pair for the vending machine.
OG pair.
Yep.
Yeah, they were actually shipped to me.
Amazing. Oh,
from a friend. That's a separate story. Love that friend. That whole family's amazing. But,
amazing.
They. I thought they did a brilliant job.
Me too.
Addressing a lot of the pitfalls that Google Glass never did.
And also, for what it's worth, dude, I think it was $140.
Incredible.
I could not believe
Incredible.
how cheap they were letting those go.
Great. Like that's what they should be doing. Like more technology should be cheaper. Like more people should be able to access these things.
Yeah.
But I thought, Snapchat, what they did was brilliant. Snap, what they did was brilliant.
Yep.
The first thing they did was they made these sunglasses.
Yep.
So it's
Really
something
funky, bright,
Yeah.
like
it's visible. This is something different, but
Yes.
you also wear it outside, and outside
Yes.
is a less private space. So it's a more appropriate place to start taking videos and things like that. They had the yellow bands around the camera and the
light.
the sensor,
Yep.
the ambient light sensor,
Yep.
and which is also like, okay, this is different. Something's going on here. Draws the attention in. They had the light to indicate that it was recording. That was huge. But one thing that I thought that was really interesting is another kind of like privacy kind of built-in thing was like you had to go up and reach to capture a photo. And glass, right? You could wink to
speak the command.
Or speak it, right? So
see, and the difference, not to interrupt you, but the difference there for me, and I've said this like on the stream months ago, like glass, truly smart glasses. I think spectacles, RayBans, more of connected glasses, where it's like, yeah, you've got Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. There's no display, there's no screen, you can't speak to those things. It's like sort of limited, I think, for a good reason, right? Continue on this notion of like, yeah, you have to reach for it. You have to interact with the thing in a physical way to start the recording.
That explicit gesture is something that everyone around you can see you doing, you know?
Yeah.
So these are kind of like built-in
design functions,
design
right?
functions that Snap did. So I thought they did a great job
Yep.
with it. The part that I thought they could have done better is the actual like in-app integration.
Yeah.
You know,
you
that
have
was
to
one.
pair with Wi-Fi. It takes forever to transfer.
Well,
and
yeah, I mean, not only that, I mean, I would have loved maybe this mode where I could just instantly upload to my story, you know?
Yep.
Because that's the thing that was so great about it. It kept me in the moment because I could just take the picture and go. But like oftentimes it would pull me out of the moment later. You know,
Yep.
if I wanted to post it.
Yup.
Or
Yep.
I'd want to post it immediately or something like that. So they did a great job with that.
Yeah.
You know,
Do you have the second gen and the third gen pair?
got the second gen.
Yep.
Did not get the third gen.
They're
Yeah,
four
yeah.
times the price.
Yeah,
Three or
yeah.
four
I mean, the
times the
quality,
price.
the-
They're amazing.
I've
They're
played with
metal.
them,
They're
they're
really
great. Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
There's two cameras now, so you could get that depth effect. There's two buttons also, so you could go for either one.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
really nice. I wear them as sunglasses.
Oh,
you know,
nice. Yeah,
even if
yeah.
they're dead, whatever. And then also the redesigned charge case, how it collapses.
Super nice.
So
Yeah,
great.
so-
yeah,
so
yeah.
sleek and
yep.
things like that.
Yep. In any event, okay. So you had like you were really into gadgets. It seems like, you know, as a kid.
Yeah.
And then you went to school.
Went to school.
Where?
So I went to Cornell University in Ithaca, New York.
Which is across the country.
Which is across the country. I moved to a frozen tundra for way too long.
Yeah, those East Coast winters not fun.
They're
Yanir.
not. They're not.
It's
Especially
dark at
upstate New
4.
York.
It's oh my god.
Yeah. They're crazy.
I'm
but
complaining about New Jersey, New York. You're upstate New York,
Yeah,
where
it
it's
was-
like
it was brutal. It was
Yeah.
brutal. I had to learn a lot about how to survive in those crazy winters.
yup.
But yeah, I went in. I went in as an electrical engineering major.
Whoa.
The reason being because I love hardware. You know, like
Gadgets.
all these things that you can touch and like have an emotional relationship with. Like, you know, when someone. I'll get back to that story. So I went in electrical engineering, and I wanted to also minor in industrial design.
Did you have friends from Palo Alto that were going with you to school?
No, I went to a small school. It was like 30 kids in my class. I was the only one that ended up there.
So you moved across the country, no friends, no family. Wow.
Yeah, but like, you know, you
Wow.
make friends.
No,
you
of
know,
course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well,
I'm
you
like
just did the same thing. You just moved from
yeah,
New York to San
I'm also
Francisco.
32 years old. You know, I went when I was a kid, you know, 18, New Jersey, born and raised, go to Rutgers University, state school, 30 minutes from my parents, you know? You were like, nah, full send across the country, you know?
It was
amazing.
Great. It was great. So
amazing.
So I wanted to understand, you know, how all these, you know, when you build something with electronics, I wanted to understand how that integrates with the design on the outside and like the form and the fit, and how it all integrates together. Because one thing that was inspiring for me, from Apple, honestly, was understanding how every millimeter of the device integrates with every other millimeter, and then down to the software integrates with every bit.
Everything is accounted for.
It's accounted for. Everything is considered. Turns out Cornell didn't really have industrial design that was in that space for me. And turns out I didn't really love the electrical engineering program. I thought it was like way too theoretical. I didn't get to build. So I ended up making my own major.
Whoa.
I was technically electrical engineering, but it was also psychology. So I just ended up taking classes that would let me build things, physical things, software things, mostly physical, and also let me like exercise this kind of like passion for psychology of like understanding. I really wanted to understand how people think, how people behave, and then cater tech to that, so it's not, disruptive to the human experience. And that ended up, speaking to a lot of the things I built. So as I was ending high school, I built this app with some friends that essentially I was going through SoundCloud all the time. And in SoundCloud at that time, and still now, you have to go through a lot of crummy music to get to great music. And I'd skip all the time, and if I was doing something on my phone, I'd have to pull down Control Center, click next. And I was like, I just want to control my music without needing to
Because
interact.
was there a SoundCloud app even back
Yeah,
then?
yeah.
There was. Okay.
So, I mean, the app I built ended up not working with SoundCloud, just Apple Music.
Okay.
But you'd essentially, go like this for the next song, previous song, and then pause and play.
Using the accelerometer. Whoa.
And you could just keep doing what you're doing. And it was awesome. I loved
It worked?
using it. It worked. You can still download it, maybe. I don't know if it still works. It's called Swish with a Y.
SWYSH.
Yeah. And that was awesome because like we made like all these marketing videos for it. With very,
Man, I'd
very
love to see
talented
those.
friend Ben. Yeah, you have to. Like it's actually like really well done. And we did that. I actually had to reach out to a lot of like music labels or music like managers of musicians because Apple required for the screenshots the go-ahead to use the album art in the screenshots and also to use the song in the promo video.
Yep.
So that was pretty cool. I remember like I was like messaging Flume's manager and he was like, yeah, like if you want to use this for 4 seconds, it's going to be 6 figures. I was like, I'm in high school, man. Like you just throw me a bone here. Like no. But I I was really into Russ at the time. I think Russ, when he was a SoundCloud rapper, was my favorite era of Russ. I chatted with Russ and he wanted $700 for the song. And I was like, awesome. I didn't do it because many other artists were really nice and were like, here, just use it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that was fun.
Wow. I didn't even know about that.
Yeah,
wow.
it was a
Swish.
good era. Swish.
Okay.
And then when I got to college, again, like did this whole like major thing, and
what was it called?
The
major.
The major. It was just called Electrical Engineering and Psychology. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Did you have to like talk to and it was someone at the school to design the major and like
absolutely.
pick the
I schemed my way through all that. Absolutely. I was, as soon as I was in college, I was ready to get out. I just wanted to be out building all these things. I'm glad I didn't end sooner than I did because like the people I met and the relationships I made, like I could never trade for anything in the world.
I mean, your roommate.
Yeah.
My
roommate.
You have
exactly.
a zillion friends from Cornell.
So many. So it's such a treat and such a blessing. Of course, a lot of them are in New York because that's where everybody ends up. But
unless you're building in San Francisco.
Unless you're building in San Francisco, and a lot of them came here, and it's a great excuse to go and visit that city.
And to go get Dumpling Man.
And to go get Dumpling Man, exactly. But yeah, so when I was in college, tried to build a startup called Wove. The idea behind wove was putting digital interactions back into physical space. And that was inspired by a lot of our interactions with each other and with things around us are done with our phones rather than with the things that are right in front of us.
Give me an example.
My favorite example is Venmo. Exchanging money between people has historically been such a social interaction. You would always pull out cash. It was so physical. You'd pull out cash, you'd pull out like gold coins, whatever it was for thousands of years, and you'd hand it to someone, get something back, shake hands, whatever it might be. And now you don't need to talk to the person. You can just be like, Venmo me. All right, I'm just going to pull out my phone, search for your name, whatever. And like, what was this really social interaction is now this kind of antisocial interaction.
Mm-hmm. So
the idea behind Wove was putting those interactions back into like that social, physical space. I think the dream was more of like an AR way to do that. I think at that time we were really thinking glasses is like the way you do that, with the caveat of some of the things that I mentioned, like the face is a very personal space. You need to build around that idea. And I have so many notes I'll show you later. It's like around how do you build glasses that don't like mess up the like social interaction you have with people, that just feel natural, look natural. But yeah, so we couldn't build glasses, so we started to build little applets. So the first thing we really built was this kind of opt-in facial rec network where I could just point my phone at you like this and just drag $5 to you, drag a file to you. And it was like, you know, a much quicker, more reliable airdrop, or drag little messages. And my thought at the time was like, if you go from here to here, you save people a lot of time and it's a better interaction because at least you're looking up. Still wasn't my favorite. Later on, that kind of transformed into a couple other different apps and notions. None of them are in the App Store now. But I think, you know, there's actually one other one that's on the App Store. And that one was more of like a fun side project, which was like this app called Hey, which was kind of pairing the psychology major in me with the tech major in me. And essentially what it was is you can match with two people in across space. I mean, you match and someone else matches. At that time, it was across campus. And a compass appears and a distance. And you just need to find each other. And I thought it was like a fun, cute little thing. And it was actually inspired by that Black Mirror episode called Hang the DJ, where there's this dating app where everybody has to go on the date. Like, you have no other option not to. I was like, well, that's interesting. Like, dating apps now, you know, you can get a message, you can match and like do nothing.
Yep.
A lot of ghosting. And I was like, how do you prevent that? And that kind of transformed into this idea of this fun little game where, like, okay, maybe your fingers pressed down and you can only like find the person while your fingers pressed down, and if anyone lets go, boom, the connection's lost.
That's like snaps. Remember
Like
back in
snaps?
the day?
What?
You had to press and hold the
yeah.
screen, and if you let
Yeah.
go of the screen, the snap went away.
So I killed that because it was annoying to keep your finger on the screen.
And Snap also killed that.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I take my snaps, honestly. I still press and hold.
I mean, for viewing. Yeah, remember that back in the day? Yeah.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that?
Yeah. Maybe.
In the beginning of the Snapchat days, when you got a snap, and holding
Check
it
that out.
down. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But yeah, so what was crazy is people ended up using that, one, you know, to play a fun game with their friends on campus, but also to find their friends in festivals, like in a crowd. I was like, dang, I didn't realize people would do this. And that was a really cool moment, to see that people were like using this in ways that were like greater than I had imagined.
Mm-hmm.
And that was pretty epic.
And that was during college you had
That
this?
was during college.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was college. Those little moments are kind of surreal to me. Like, I did a program during one summer in college too, and some guy comes up to me and was like, "Did you build this app called Swish?" I was like, "Yeah." What? Like, why? Like, how do you know that? So it didn't have that many users. And he's like, "All my friends and I in China use it." And I was like, "What the hell?"
Wow.
And he was like, "Can I get a picture with you?" I was like, "No, can I get a picture with you?"
Wow.
Like, that was like for me, I think if that just like goal complete.
Yeah.
That was like incredible.
Same as what you said, humanizing the numbers on the screen. Like,
Yeah.
that's someone that used what you made.
Yeah. And that was like, for me, that really put into perspective, like, my goal in life is just to like make people happy on a massive scale if I can.
Bring joy.
Bring joy. If you can, sometimes I like to think about, maybe this is like a really weird thing, but I like to think about like emotion as like there's an economy of emotion. At any given moment, there's an amount of happiness in the world, there's an amount of sadness, there's an amount of anger. And anything you can do to increase or decrease one of those, I prefer to increase happiness and decrease sadness, the better, you know, like. So I just want to increase the economy of happiness in the world, the GDP of happiness. I don't know how that's measured. I'm sure there's a measurement out there somewhere. But that kind of became my goal. And that's kind of what drove a lot of the interactions I was doing. Some of the research I was doing in college too, was that I was in this great research group under Tanzim Chaudhry with Alex Adams and Jean Costa. But we were building this kind of accessory for the Apple Watch, or not accessory, this app for the Apple Watch, where if you had an Apple Watch, I had an Apple Watch, and you know, we paired. Hey. You would feel my heartbeat and I'd feel yours, because we were just streaming the heartbeat to each other, and we wanted to understand if that would increase people's empathy towards one another. And it was awesome. Like, one thing we found was, like, you know, our heartbeats end up synchronizing with each other because you have this feedback. Like, if you were at 80 beats per minute and I was at 60, maybe we'd meet at 70.
Wow.
It would probably be the other way around. You'd be at 60, I'd be at 80, because I have a pretty high heart rate. I've learned. And you're always calm, cool, collected, Sam. But
I don't
yeah.
know what's there's no way that's true.
Yeah.
So you built a lot of different things.
You know,
you did a lot of experimenting.
It came at the cost of grades, but that was great. Like, it was great. I wouldn't trade that or do that over.
Was Cornell a hard school?
Horribly difficult. Yeah. The engineering program especially is like very, very intensive.
Is that where you learned to code?
Yeah, because I
Right?
took a lot of classes that were like, you have to code to do this. Built a typewriter that that types on its own.
Like a physical type?
Yeah, physical typewriter. Like, we took a typewriter and just kind of like built this really nice, I'll show you after, this nice little thing that would just kind of, you'd speak to it and it would type what you're speaking.
With a those crazy mechanisms?
Yep, and it was all underneath the typewriter. Really
Dude, that's
nicely.
sick.
It was fun. Built a fork that would read the doneness of your meat, so you could know, is this rare, well done.
You built a fork that could read the doneness.
Yeah. Well, it didn't work that well, but yeah, that was like that.
Like, you would stick a fork in the steak and see, is it cooked enough?
Yeah. So that's
those exist now, by the way.
That's awesome.
Not a fork, but like isn't
probe.
like
It's a probe.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, you could see the temperature. Yeah. This was measuring the actual, like, how much current would flow through the muscle cells of the meat, to get like a proper, I guess, tenderness. So
it would see like what resistance and
exactly. Yeah.
Wow. See, like you built half a dozen, 10. You know, like
so many like fun little things.
Yeah.
That was just a dream come true. And then I was like, all right, I'm ready to do this in the real world. I want to. I mean, I always figured after school, like, I'd probably try to build my own thing, or I really wanted to end up at a startup where I could learn a lot of the similar ideologies that Apple would put in their products. Mm-hmm. So happened to be that a startup like that was created just when I entered a fellowship program to have an entrepreneurial summer experience, and that's when the stars aligned for Humane. So this is kind of, I guess, going into the story of how I found Humane.
Yep, we time check. It's 12:54.
Oh, 12:54.
Yup.
All right, we'll speed through this one.
You got 6 minutes.
I know, time goes like this.
Oh my
You know,
gosh.
it's crazy.
Okay.
Yanir has a hard out
At 1.
At 1.
At 12:59.
Okay. So, I'm on a flights to the Europe from the East Coast, when you time them right, can be remarkably cheap. So my friend Sam found these round trip. My other friend Sam Feldman found these round trip tickets to Paris for like $200, and we picked a random weekend to go.
From Ithaca?
From New York. I drove to New York.
Okay.
And we took this sketch ass airline too. It was crazy. But while we were like taxiing, I'm like scrolling through Twitter, and I get this tweet recommended. Someone liked one of Imran's tweets, and I had no clue who Imran was, but the Imran talked about Project Purple, and I think Tony Fadell and Scott Forstall, and I was like, this is interesting. Those are names that I know. So I clicked through and saw, he's a designer at Apple. Now he's working on this thing called Humane. I was like, well, what is this? So I clicked through, read the mission, and was like, holy crap, this mission is what I've turned my entire education into. And then I read the who we were talking about Bethany and Imran. And I think Patrick had just joined at the time. It wasn't clear, but talking about Bethany and Imran, I was like, this is a startup where people have worked at Apple and understand how every millimeter of the device and every other millimeter of the device and like every bit just like works together. I have to be there. I was like, I have to, like, this is like the most perfect fit I could ever think of. So I got back from Paris. I like met with the program director, Tracy, who is incredible, and she was like, no, you have to like contact a bunch of other companies and be like, you have to try out that process. I was like, no, like I'm going for this one company. So I emailed them. I emailed the like generic info email. No response. I emailed again the second week. No response. Third week I email again. No, I think actually the program director emailed at that point. No response, and then I get a text a few days later in class from the program director. It's like, are you free on this day? I was like, no, but yes. Like, so had a phone call with Bethany and Imran to kind of chat about the program, chat about Humane, like just very broadly. Like, what I later learned is at that point they were like, all systems go, but they were like, well, we have because it was so early. That was really just Bethany, Imran, and Patrick. It was like, will we have a summer that he can do meaningful stuff? Turns out yes. Like a lot of great things were built that summer. So chatted with them, met with Imran in New York, and that was just an incredible experience.
This is summer 2019.
Summer 2019. So I met with Imran in New York, and I remember every moment. I think we talked about it on the not the podcast, the stream, the first stream.
Yeah. Here, right at this table.
Yeah, it was like I remember the handshake. I remember the tea that he got. I got at that time. I was drinking coffee, so I got like a cortado.
I love the details.
And I remember the drive down to New York too. My left light bulb was out. And I got pulled over going way too fast.
Because you were excited.
Yeah. Excited to leave Ithaca, mostly. But I was excited. And I got pulled over going way too fast. And the officer was like, actually, your left tail light is out, so I'm going to give you a ticket for that instead. And I remember, like, all these things were lining up that week. And I was like, oh, my God, like, this is gonna be really interesting. Anyway, I'm like showing Imran all the things that I've built, and like at one point I'm showing him Swish actually. And one of the cool things about Swish is so that it wouldn't like trigger in your pocket. Anytime your phone's upside down, it won't trigger any gestures. So I was like showing him that. I had my phone kind of like this, but my thumb was above the flashlight icon, and I just like completely blinded Imran for a moment. And I was like, damn, this is going well. Great. Like, awesome. But no, it ended up being great. I met with Patrick a few weeks later in San Francisco. And then June 3rd, 2019, my friend Yuval's birthday, June 3rd, was my first day. And I wore a suit on my first day.
That is awesome. Yanir,
There's
that's
some
awesome, dude.
there's some great pictures of that, and then I slowly made my way to just the button down and a short sleeves button down.
And now you wear
and now-
ALD.
yeah,
Now I
look at
wear
this.
T-shirts. I've definitely taken some fashion inspo from the people here. We've got very fashionable people. But yeah, since then, then it was like building on a lot of early stuff with Patrick, this is the
So
CTO,
cool.
and at one point, and that was when we were raising our seed round. At one point, Patrick went on family vacation. And he was like, "Oh, like you're gonna have to demo the stuff to the seed investors." I was like, okay, great. So I for a good part of the summer, I was demoing
What we
we're
had back
building.
then,
Yeah,
right?
what we had
Yeah.
back then. And it's really nice to see like a lot of the same kind of intentions continue on today. So, I kind of stayed on while I was back at school. I had one more semester left. I stayed on, still doing some work, and now I'm on the design team working with Imran, Ken, so many incredible designers on what this next generation of computing is going to look like. And it's just such a perfect fit where I can really use the psychology nerd in me, to think about how people think, how people interact, and cater tech to that. It's remarkable, and it's still the thing that drives me all the time. So that's kind of like a condensed my Humane story.
There's definitely more. I know there's some more things.
Oh, there's plenty.
Yeah, there's plenty.
There's been almost 4 years since then too. It's almost 4 years since I was an intern.
Wow, that is crazy
Yeah,
to think.
yeah. I just passed my 3 years full time. So
So June 3rd will be unofficially 4 years.
Yeah. I'm so excited for us to
Yeah,
talk
I can't
about.
imagine how it feels for you, for
Yeah,
Imran, Bethany,
yeah.
Patrick,
It's
Brian.
it's
like
the-
for me, 6
Yeah.
months here, I'm like, yay, it's this year.
Yeah.
For you guys, it's like
there's a really interesting. I'm very used to it, but there's a really interesting kind of thing of being in your early 20s and not being able to tell your parents, your friends, your girlfriend what you're working on, what you do. You
Yep.
come home from
where
work
it's like
and,
most of your time, the
Yeah.
majority of your time when you're at the office, it's like no one knows what's going on.
Yeah. It's the Severance on.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it
Yes.
either, but from what
Okay.
it's described, it's
Yes,
kind
My
of
mom
It's
loves
great.
that show.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
Is
But
it?
yes, it's exactly like that.
Yeah, but
Less
And
harsh,
I've
less
even-
dystopian.
Yeah,
but it's close to that.
exactly. But no, I love it. It's I actually really appreciate some of the stealth right now.
Yeah.
Because it really allows for good focus. You don't
Yes.
have all these distractions of people saying I want this like this, I don't like that. I'm like, okay, just wait.
Yeah.
We're gonna bring you the best thing that we can.
Yep.
And it's gonna be great.
Yep.
That's when people are oftentimes in interviews, people are like, how of people that want to come work at Humane, they're like, how do I know if I want to work here if I don't know what it is? I'm like, trust me, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
And as soon as you're here, you're gonna be so happy that you made this decision because it's a really exciting thing to work on. And I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here.
I'm one of those people. Collins. I mean, everyone's one of
Yeah,
those people.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And it's just it's gonna be pretty different after we do announce and come out of stealth. It will be. There is now this before time while we're still in stealth, and there will be this after time where it's oh, that's what Humane. Is up to.
Yeah.
And I'm stoked.
Yeah, and then we'll be able to tell all the stories of here's why we did this, here's why we did that.
Yeah.
It's important for people to understand
Yeah.
this is why things work the way they do.
That's right.
It's not just you got to understand more about the story. We'll be
Yes.
super transparent
Yes.
about it, and that'll be great.
Yes. Okay, Yanir, it's 1:04.
104.
You're late to your thing, whatever you
Okay.
have to do.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Of course.
Next time we do this, let's block out, the 30 minutes after the hour, because then we can
Absolutely.
interact with the chat, do the
Absolutely.
Discord
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
I'm
Well,
not even.
We can if you wanted to like take. I'm curious what the what's going on there.
I haven't looked in about an hour.
And
so
I'll send a quick ping that I'm.
Should we just jump into Discord?
sure.
I think we're gonna end the stream here, guys. We're at the wide right here.
We're at the wide here. What up?
I put the link in chat. Discord.gg.
Oh, you're talking as me?
Yeah.
I am Sam now. Me. Oh my God. Severance is so good.
Humane. We'll be there on the stages live, and you guys can ask questions.
Wow.
There,
I just need to
and we'll
tell
be there,
you,
so.
George Kennenberg